Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Yud Amud Beis, that's 10b of Maseches Taanis. The Mishnah at the bottom of Yud Amud Aleph had told us that if the month of Cheshvan comes and it hasn't rained yet, so now it's the onset of a drought, so people begin to fast in prayer that the drought should end. So the Mishnah said that at the 17th of Cheshvan, Yechidim are Misanim. The individuals fast 3 fasts, and if by the 1st of Kislev it still hasn't rained, so then the court enacts that the whole congregation, the whole tzibur should fast. And the Gemara said, who are these individuals? Who are the Yechidim? The Gemara said it's the Rabbanan. It's the rabbis and the Torah scholars. So the Gemara now on the top of Yud Amud Beis says, end of the first line, it says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Al Yomar Adam Talmid Ani. A person shouldn't say, oh, I'm just a student. Eini Ra'ayu Lios Yachid. I'm not fit to be an individual, one of these great individuals that we're speaking about who fast even for after the 17th of Cheshvan. Ella, rather says the Gemara, Kol Talmid Chachamim Yechidim. All students of the sages, all students of Torah are Yechidim, are these individuals who could fast. Then the Gemara says, Ezehu Yachid. Ezehu Yachid. What is a Yachid? What's a true Yachid? A true individual? Ve'ezeu Talmid Chacham, and who is Ezehu Yachid, Ve'ezeu Talmid, who's a true Yachid, a true individual, and who's a Talmid, who's a student. We're saying these students are allowed to act like Yechidim, like individuals with regards to fasting, that they can fast. But what is the definition of an individual? What's the definition of a student? So a Yachid, one of these special individuals, is Kol She'ro'i Limnoso Parnes Al Tzibur. Someone who's fit to be appointed as a leader of the congregation. That's someone who we would call a Yachid. And Talmid, a student, is Kol Sheshalin Oso Dvar Halacha B'limudo Ve'omer. It's someone who we would ask a question in his learning, and he could answer. Va'afilu b'Masechta Dekala, and he should even be able to answer a question from the Masechta Dekala. Masechtas Kala is a group of Braisas. It's not a Mishnah Masechta, it's not a Talmudic Masechta, but it's an additional Masechta. There are different ones like this, Masechtas Smachos, different ones, and Kala deals with some of laws relating to marriage, and the definition of a Talmid or a Talmid Chacham, according to the Gemara, is someone who you would ask him a question, and he can answer it sort of on anything, and even b'Masechta Dekala. So we have 2 levels here. We have the Yachid. The Yachid is a great sage who's also a leader, someone who's fit to be appointed over the congregation. And then there's a Talmid, there's a student. A student is someone who's a Talmid Chacham. He's knowledgeable in Torah. He can answer your questions. He's not necessarily fit to be appointed a leader. But the Gemara had said that even those Talmidei Chachamim, even those students of Torah, they, for this purpose, for the purpose of fasting, already from the 17th of Cheshvan, it's not considered arrogant to look at themselves like a Yachid. Rather, they can treat themselves like a Yachid, like one of these individuals, and they could fast already from that day. The Gemara continues, it says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Lo kol harotze la'asos atzmo Yachid oseh, Talmid oseh. Gemara says the opposite. No, not anyone who wants to make himself into a Yachid, an individual, can do that, and not anyone who wants to declare himself a Talmid Chacham, can do that. Divrei Rabbi Meir, those are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir seems to be saying that there are stations, each person has to recognize who they are, and a student cannot make himself like a Yachid, like one of these great individuals. But Rabbi Yossi Omer, Oseh v'zachor latov. Rabbi Yossi says he can make himself into a Yachid, he can consider himself like an individual, and zachor latov, and he'll be remembered for good. Why? Because Because in this case, it's not a praise for him, it's just a tsar, it's just painful, it's just difficult. Meaning, if a person, is not fit to be one of these great individuals, but he still makes himself out to be for the honor or for some other purpose, or not clearly for honor, but perhaps for honor. So therefore, in general, we would say it's not proper. But in this case, what does it mean to make yourself into a yachid, to make yourself like an individual? It means you'll have to fast. That's not something good. That's something difficult and challenging. And so for this purpose, if somebody wants to look at themselves that way, then that's fit and good. And Rabbi Yossi says, Zachar latov, such a person is remembered for good. Tanya idach, we have another brisa. Lokal arotza lasos atzmo yachid oset, talmid oset, divrei Rav Shimon ben Elazar. Same idea, just instead of Rabbi Meir, it's Rav Shimon ben Elazar. That, someone who wants to make himself from a student into a yachid, into one of these great individuals, he can't. And somebody who's not even a student of Torah, Talmid Chacham, he cannot make himself like a Talmid Chacham. That was the opinion of Reb Shimon ben Elazar. But Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, this other Reb Shimon, the son of Gamliel, said, Bamed dvarim amurim bidvar shel shvach. I agree with you. When are those words said that you can't make yourself, a greater station that applies to you? So that's for something of shvach, something of praise. To be praised, to be respected for it. Right, you have to know your station. However, but for a matter of pain and suffering and fasting, Osa v'zachor latov. He can do it and he'll be remembered for good. She'ein shvachu lo el tzar lo. It's not a praise for him, it's a tsar, it's a pain, it's difficult, and therefore, if somebody wants to take that on, so that's acceptable. Gemara continues, Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Misha haya mis'ane al hatzara ve'avra. If a person accepted upon themselves to fast because of some tzara, some suffering that was going on, and they're fasting in prayer, ve'avra, and that difficulty, that challenge passed. Or al hachole v'nisrap, if somebody fasted so that in prayer for a sick person to be cured, and the person was cured, but you're still in the middle of the fast, so the person should continue to fast and finish off the fast. If you started the fast, you should finish it even if the situation has improved. If a person travels from a place where they're not fasting to a place where they are fasting, you start in a place where there's been rain, and you go to somewhere, from a place where they've gotten rain and they're not fasting, but you travel to a place where they are fasting. So do you fast? Says the Gemara, yes, imahen. You should fast along with them. What about the other way around? You come from a place where they're fasting, and you're going to a place where they're not fasting. So the Gemara says again, again, you should still fast. You're from a place that they're fasting, you should fast. So either way, the Gemara says you should fast. If you go from a place where they're not fasting to a place where they are fasting, well, they are fasting. They need something. So you should join in that. You should join in their prayer and their fasting. And if you come from a place where they're fasting, even if you're now in a place where they're not, but you should, your heart should be with your people, with the place where you traveled from, and therefore you should continue to fast. Shachach ve'achal ve'shasa. What if you forgot, and you ate and you drank, so now your fast is broken, and it seems to, at least according to Rashi, we're talking about you're in a place where people are fasting, and you forgot and you broke your fast. So in this type of fast, once you break your fast, the fast is over. It's not like Yom Kippur, where every single bite you take makes it, is another transgression. Here it's a rabbinic fast, it's in order to pray, and once you break it, you break it. But the Gemara says that even if you broke your fast by accident, al yisra b'fnei hatzibur, you shouldn't appear in front of the people and eat. And you yourself shouldn't even enjoy extra pleasures in private, even not in front of other people, and eat a lot, and eat delicious foods. Shenemar, as the verse says, when that Yaakov says to his sons, Vayomer Yaakov Levanav, Lama Tisra'u. Literally seems, why should you be afraid? But the Gemara interprets, Amar Lam Yaakov Levanav, Yaakov said to his sons, it's from the word al tiru, don't appear. Lama Tisra, why should you appear that way? Appear which way? Al tiru atzmechem kisha'atem seveyin, don't make yourself look like you have food. You're satisfied. Lo bifnei Esav, lo bifnei Yishmael. Not before the people of Esav, and not before the people of Yishmael. Kadesh lo yiskanu bachem, so they're not jealous of you. The way the Rashi seems to say is that when Yaakov sent his sons down to Egypt to get food, is they really had food, but if they wouldn't go and get food, it would look bad in the eyes of the neighbors. They'd say, "Oh, they have food and we don't." So he said they should act like they didn't have food and go down to Egypt to get food. That seems to be what Rashi is saying. I think that's a novel interpretation. But in any event, the Gemara is clear that this speaks of a time when they did have food, and still Yaakov said, don't show that off in front of Esav and Yishmael, in front of the other nations, when they don't have food, so that they're not jealous of you. Once the Gemara is talking about these discussions with the brothers, so it brings another pasuk. Yosef told his brothers when they were traveling back to their father, he said, Al tirgezu baderech, don't fight, don't argue on the way. What was he telling them? Amar Rabbi Elazar explains, Amar lam Yosef le'echav, Yosef said to his brothers, Al tisasku bidvar halacha, don't involve yourself in matters of halacha, don't speak in learning, don't speak about halacha, Torah, while you're traveling. Shematir gezu aleichem haderech. Maybe the way, the road will sort of become angry with you. Well, in other words, you'll get distracted, and you'll be endangered from the travel if you're too involved in divrei Torah. I think it could also be interpreted that you'll end up fighting if you're arguing in matters of halacha. Al tirgezu, don't argue between yourselves, so don't learn things that will bring you to argument. Again, maybe because of the distraction it could cause while traveling. He doesn't tell them don't learn Torah in the Beis Medrash. He specifically is talking about while you're traveling. The Gemara asks, Eini, is that so? Could he really have said that? Rabbi Eloi bar Brachya. Rabbi Eloi, the son of Brachya, taught, Shnei talmidei chachamim shemahalchim baderech. If you have two Torah scholars, Torah students, and they're traveling ve'en b'nei and divrei Torah, and there's no words of Torah between them, ru'uyin lisarif, they're fit to be burned. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, it says about Eliyahu and Elisha, it says, Vayihem aholchim, and they were traveling. Eliyahu and Elisha were traveling. V'daber, and they were speaking in Torah. V'nei rechav eish, v'susei eish, and behold, a chariot of fire appeared, and horses of fire. Vayafridu beit shneim, and it separated between them. So the Gemara interprets, Taima d'ikadibur, why did it separate them and not burn them up? That's because ikadibur, because they were speaking and learning. Halakadibur, if they had not been speaking ru'uyin lisarif, they would have been fit to be burned. That's what the Gemara deduces from the fact that the pasuk made sure to tell you they were speaking, was that it was in that merit that this fiery chariot and fiery horse didn't burn them up. So it says, so this was a statement of Rabbi Eloi bar Brachya, that if two Torah scholars are traveling and they don't speak in Torah, they don't speak in learning, so they are fit to be burned. So that's a contradiction. Yosef is telling his brothers, don't speak in learning while you're traveling. And here we have a teaching that you're supposed to speak in learning while traveling. So the Gemara says, Lo kasha, it's not a contradiction. Halamigras halaiyuni. One is lamigras. Lamigras is to learn your gears, to learn the versions, meaning to just go over the basic text. Pshat. Memorization. Ha'aliyuni. But one is to go to delve in depth. So when you're traveling, certainly you should speak in Torah, but just speak it, on a pshat level. Speak it, go over the verses, etc., or even the Mishnah, but not on a deeper level. But liyuni, to delve into it, where you start arguing and etc., that's what should be avoided while traveling. Because it could be dangerous, because you could get too involved in the discussion. Okay, the Gemara continues. It says, Tana was taught, al tafsiu psia gasa. A person shouldn't take large steps. V'achnisu chama le'ir. And you should bring the sun into the city, meaning you should enter a city while it's still light. Then the Gemara elaborates, al tafsiu psia gasa. One should not take these very large steps. Da'amar mar, because it was said, the master said, Psia gasa notelas echa mechamish meos mima'ar einav shel adam. Large steps take away 1/500th of a person's vision. The problem with psia gasa, these large steps, seemingly is it's like arrogant to be taking these large steps, and the Gemara says that it takes away 1/500th of a person's vision. So that's one teaching. V'achnisu chama le'ir, and also you should enter the city while it's still light. Kid Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, and that aligns itself with the teaching of Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav. D'Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, le'olam yete adam b'chitov v'yikanes b'kitov. A person should always go out with kitov and should enter with kitov. What's kitov? So it says in the creation of the world, it says that Vayaro Kimes, Hashem created the light. Vayaro Kimes or kitov. Hashem saw that the light was good. So it refers to the light as kitov, that it is good. So you should go out when it is light, when it is good, and you should also come in when it is good or when it is light. Now, how do we know that? Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Haboker or v'hanashim shuluchu. When Yosef sends his brothers back the second time, back to Canaan, so the pasuk says, the morning became light and the men were sent out. You see that they waited till it was light before they went out. You see it's important to wait for light. While it's still dark, it could be dangerous to travel. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rabbi Chia. While we're learning about traveling, the Gemara elaborates. It says, Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rabbi Chia, Hamahalech baderech, someone who is traveling, al yochal yoser mishane ravon. You shouldn't eat more than what a person would eat in a year of famine. Meaning, just like in a famine, you ration. So when you're traveling, you should ration your food. My taima. What's the reason? So hacha targimu mishum mayana. Here in Babylonia, they explained it to mean because of the stomach, because it can hurt the stomach if you eat a lot and then you're walking and putting in effort to travel. So then that could have an ill effect on the stomach. But b'ma'arava amri mishum mizoni. In the West, in Israel, they interpreted this teaching. The reason was because of mizoni, because you could run out of food. When you're traveling, you never know what can happen. You have to ration your food. My benayu, what's the difference between these two? What does it matter if the reason is, if the advice is because of stomach issues, or if the advice is because you might run out of food? So it could be nayu, the difference will be, top of the next page, diyasif ba'arba, if you're traveling on a ship. Interestingly, the Gemara is assuming if you're traveling on a ship, so you're not putting in that effort to travel, so you don't have to worry about your stomach. I think you may have to worry about your stomach for other reasons, but in terms of the effort and the how that affects you, so that you don't have to worry about. But food rations you have to worry about, because you could still run out of food on a ship, just same as if you're traveling by road. So that's one difference. There, the reason of running out of food still applies, but the reason of the effort of travel, the wear and tear of travel, does not apply. Inami, or possibly also another nafkaming, another practical difference will be dika azo me uvna l'uvna, where you're going from one hotel to another. If you're traveling, but you know along the way there are inns, there's rest stops, etc., so there's food to be had, there's food to be found, so therefore, if the reason is because of rations, well, you don't have to ration, because there's grocery marts along the way, there's hotels along the way, so you don't have to worry about rationing. But if the reason is because of your stomach, because the effort of traveling can impact the stomach, so then this advice would still apply, even though there's food to come by, but you don't want to make yourself sick by eating a lot and then traveling. Okay, we'll continue from here next week.